Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new Ready to Love review. Last week they were not showing a new Ready to Love, but we are back this week. Season 6, episode 7. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Child, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. But before we do that, y'all, please hit that like button, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so that you'll be updated each and every time I upload a video. Child, and tell a friend and tell somebody who knows somebody who's going to tell somebody. Please, y'all, I'm ready to love. Now, child, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. When the episode first opens up, Dakia is telling Tommy that there was an incident between her and Eric and she no longer wants to date him. Now, y'all remember that's what was happening last week, right? Well, the week before last. And so Tommy was like, okay. Child, he probably over there thinking, oh, Lord, here we go again, child. Woo. First Phil and Shiloh and now y'all. So Dakia said, I thought that he was a guy that I could see a future with, but she said she was hanging out with him and the guys, right? And so he asked to take a picture with her. And she said, like as a little joke, she was saying that he was positioning himself like they were taking an old school prom picture. Y'all know how they take them prom pictures where you stand in front and the guy stands behind with his hands ever so on your waist. Child, because I sure took one. But anywho, she was saying that reminded her of that. So then he was like, oh, okay, well, watch this. And so he kind of got very physical with her. Now, word on the curb is that he touched her boobage, okay? And she didn't like that because she's a lady. So she was like, no, don't touch me that way. I'm a lady. And when she was telling the story, I can see Eric doing something like that, allegedly. Because, y'all already knew I felt like Eric was for the streets, child. These men on this season, they're very forward and very sexual. Like it was evident with Tori last episode. They give off all these sexual innuendos, these little jokes. But I want to say this. Them as ladies on this season should nip that in the bud right away. Listen, I want to get to know you, but can we talk about something other than what's between my legs, honey? I don't want to talk about that. And I don't want to talk about you being in between my sheets until I know exactly who you are. So she said, I'm still open to getting to know other men, but Eric is not that man. Tommy said, okay, well, I'll talk to him. Moving forward. Child, I know Tommy tired of babysitting these grown people. Why y'all can't act right? Why? Just why y'all can't never get yourselves together? So Tommy said, okay, well, it's time to travel down your heart's memory lane and introduce that ex to that nix. And Tommy, Tommy, I missed you and your blazers. You know what they do, y'all. They do that every season. Introducing the ex-boyfriend to the next boyfriend or the potential boyfriend or the TV boyfriend or the made-for-TV boyfriend. Y'all know how they like to do. He said it's also time for the men to be eliminated. So Joy in her confessional, she was like, I'm a little bit nervous about this because Clifton has talked to me about the past and meeting an ex is one of his triggers. Now, I do not know exactly why, but I have a theory. So y'all just stay with me. In the next scene, Joy's ex, Sean, shows up and child, he looked like he could be her brother. I'm like, what is happening? She said like, she hasn't seen him in 2 years, but they have a very core friendship and she wants to see how he feels about the guys and he wants to see her happy. And she's actually introducing him to two people. She's introducing him to Laverne and Clifton. Why are you introducing him to Laverne? Just why? So Laverne comes in. So Sean asks what made him like Joy. He's like, her energy. She's like, boy, please, that's some BS. It was that green dress. He quickly changed his answer. He was like, yeah, it was the dress, and then I was looking at her and I was like, wow, sir. Anyway, he's like, we just vibed. And so Laverne is in there telling the ex that he needs to instill in his brain that it's Laverne for her. Charlie over there saying his name to the ex 3 times like he's Beetlejuice. Laverne, please calm down. Like, just stop. He's like, yeah, she could just forget about Clifton because he ain't nobody. I want to say this. Weren't you just saying how locked in you were with Ace and how you've made her your top choice and everybody needs to be more intentional with these women and they need to hone in on who they want? See, that's why none of them listen to you. And that's why people don't like you. I knew he was on that bull. Honey, I told y'all when he said it. I'm like, child, please. This little small segment right here just proves that Laverne is just out here to make it to the end. He don't care what he has to say to get there. And Ace, honey, I warned you. I warned you, sis. You better be careful. Moving forward. So Clifton shows up and he's dressed casually like he liked to do. Hey, Clifton. Baby. Clifton has an assortment of t-shirts, honey, from Burberry to Hanes her way. Child, he gonna have him on a t-shirt, honey. Cotton, the fabric of our lives, child. So Clifton walks in with a little attitude, child, and a chip on his shoulder. And he was basically like, look, the ex can't tell me nothing about nothing. The only thing he could tell me is how he failed. Okay, Clifton, why are you so pressed? Child, shout out to Cardi B. Why are you so pressed about the ex? Like, how you know he failed? Why can't it be Joy that failed? Huh? You ain't got nothing? Let's continue. So Clifton got right into it, honey. He's like, okay, so you're the ex. What's the relationship? Do y'all talk on holidays every day? What is it? Crickets. Wasn't nobody saying nothing. He said, okay, somebody pipe up, honey. Somebody chime in. Ooh, Clifton showing a different side today. Baby, this is something else. So Sean said, you know, I've known Joy for 4 years and jealousy is not going to get you far. He said, oh, you think I'm jealous? Sean said part of that question is rooted in jealousy. And is. Baby, they need to bring the strength down in the room. Shout out to David. Right now it's a measuring contest, honey. Ooh, child. Clifton does seem very uncomfortable with Joy being friends with an ex. This is just me. I don't do exes. Okay, I don't do exes either, Clifton, so I get it. Like, if it's done, then why are y'all still talking? But that's just me, okay? That's my opinion of it. Now, I know some other people might be cool with you being friends with an ex, but as for me and my house, we will not serve the ex. Absolutely not. He said, you know, exes lurk around trying to get you to come back to where you used to be, and he's had bad experiences with exes. I don't know if they try to get you back to where they used to be. They might try to get you back in that bed, honey, with them legs to the sky. They might try to do that, but I don't know as far as like being in a relationship with them. And as I was listening to Clifton, I was just thinking, I thought he was more secure than he is. Okay. In the next scene, Eric goes to meet Tommy in the principal's office, child. Phil and Shiloh 2.0. So he tells Eric that, you know, he wants to get his side of the story. He said, you know, we had a misunderstanding and I hurt her feelings and I never wanted to hurt her feelings. Okay, well, whatever went on, he's being real evasive about it. Okay, except all over the internet where he's talking all day long, honey. Y'all can check that out. I don't think she wants to stop dating you for you hurting her feelings. Eric wasn't right anyway, making it seem like the kid kissed him, but he just obliged her, telling Carmen all their business. Honey, it just wasn't a good look. So therefore, and thus and such, I had written him off after that episode. So he tells his recollection of things with the picture, and he said he moved his hands up. Up where? Where did you move them up to? Because, baby, they saying you was going towards the nips and whatnot. So why are you up there? He said, you know, it's just a horrible situation. Now, he did say, she said, don't do that. When he put his hands up, he said, she said, don't do it. Okay, well, that was all that needed to be said because no woman wants you to grope them unless prompted. Please don't put your hands on any part of my body. And that's what I'm talking about these men on this season. Like when Tori leaned in and just kissed Precious in her part. Nobody asked you to do that. Please keep your mouth and your hands and all of your body parts inside the ride at all times. So then he tells Tommy that he doesn't want to hurt anyone, so he's going to reflect. He's like, I'm just not ready to love. You know, I need to do some self-reflecting and figure out when I'm really ready to love. 2 things here. Number 1, he's bowing out to protect his brand and his business because this show could damage it and he ain't fooling me. Number 2, why are you leaving if you had such a strong connection with Karma? Huh? It ain't making no sense. Child, something else is going on. And I want to know what else is going on. These people love to self-eliminate. Like, it's really becoming a waste of time to even watch. Because every season, it's 5 or 6 people deciding their own fate. Please let the show play out how the show is going to play out. You shouldn't have did it. Ugh. Back at Joy's date, Sean is letting it be known, look, we are not romantically involved at all. So any communication that we have, it's always going to be friend-like. I thought that was really stand up of him to offer clarity. But baby Clifton was like, sure. Baby Clifton was like, I don't give a damn about that. I don't want the 2 of you talking, point blank, in the period. Clifton said in his confessional, he was like, you know, in my past, a shoulder to cry on would be to lay on. Well, tell us how you really feel, Clifton. What kind of women were you dealing with? Or were you the ex that they were falling on? Okay, because this is my thing. Sometimes it can be a little bit of projecting. So, you know, you've been the ex and you know you've kept in touch with some of your exes and now they got nexes, and then when she get to crying and whatnot, you standing there like a big old teddy bear with that voice whispering in her ear, and next thing you know, her panties are on the floor. Clifton, and you're not fooling me. Moving forward. So Sean said, it's important not to bring baggage into the relationship. It's becoming a pissing match at this point. Clifton is standing firm on what he believes. Laverne has disappeared into the background. Joy just looking and smiling. Clifton, to me, is probably speaking from experience because he's probably been the comforting ex whose D she fell on. That's what I think it is. So he doesn't want his woman to be friendly with an ex. Side note, they're at Carmine's. When I tell y'all I freaking love Carmine's, I am a foodie. I went to Carmine's one time in New York and I fell in love. Do y'all hear me? Oh, child, this is just a side note. Okay, back to regularly scheduled programming. So Clifton is like, everybody has a past. So Sean is like, yeah, but you got to work to not bring the past baggage into your new relationship because black men love to be afraid of therapy. Clifton said, no, I'm not. I'm actually not. I ruined my marriage due to my past, indiscretions and things that I did. And so I'm still actually going to therapy. He said, oh, okay, well, it seems like you've made some progress. Sir, did you come to be judgy or did you come to see what type of guys they were and for them to get some insight? Because this was supposed to be about him learning about Joy, not you diagnosing him. Boy, if you don't go. So then Laverne finally pipes up, child, because he ain't been saying nothing. And he's like, so, if she calls you after and asks you who's it going to be, is it going to be Clifton or Laverne? I got a Cashapp for you. Boy, all you care about is winning. Please shut up. Oh, Laverne really gets on my nerves. He really rubs me wrong. He's just not it. Ugh. So they leave, right? I don't even know why Laverne was there. I really don't. So they leave and Joy's like, so let me get your thoughts. He said, as much as it pains me, I feel like Clifton is more your type. Child, not as much as it pains you. He said Laverne was more superficial, but I learned more about Clifton. That's because Laverne isn't here for love. He probably was recruited and wants to parlay this 5 minutes into something else. Child, you know how they like to do. So Sean tells Joy, that Clifton is a better fit, but he comes at a risk. So in her confessional, she was like, he does not come at a risk. He is somebody that's going to stand on the edge with you and jump together. I said, baby, she like that man. Honey, we might as well go and call it a wrap. Quit playing with people. Y'all stop meeting other people. Clifton, get from over there with the Kia because you're going to be with Joy. Joy going to be with you. Try y'all getting on my nerves. I don't know if I believe that he's Joy's ex, though, because I was watching them and I think maybe they may have gone on a date once or twice. So she just called him up because they don't seem like exes. But anywho, that's just a side note. Moving forward. In the next scene, Carmen and her ex show up hand in hand. See, this is what Clifton is talking about. Okay, like why are y'all hand holding? Why are you holding his hand, oh blue eyes? Is it something else? Like, why are you doing that? And you do look pretty, by the way. I like that dress. And they do look nice together. Karma back in them contacts. I said, oh, my God. I said, why does she have them contacts on, Lord? Ooh, child. Please stop making them contacts, y'all. So she said she was going to meet Paul and Donovan for her date. At this point, people meeting anybody. Donovan wasn't a match for you, Carmen. Neither was Paul. She said, I'm really sad and mad that Eric left. Well, child, y'all didn't have much of a connection, honey. Maybe you can hire him and y'all can get back together. So Paul shows up saying that he thinks, that him and Carmen could actually be something. So when he sat down, Carmen told him that the gentleman next to him was her ex. And her ex reminds me of Rick Fox a little bit. Like they could be in the same tribe. I'm not saying like they look exactly alike, but he was a very handsome man. Clearly, she likes older men because when Paul and her ex were sitting next to each other, I was like, oh, okay, that's her type. That's her type. I get it, girl. So she tells them that Donovan is also going to be joining them. Y'all know what? I am still in shock that P.O. is still present. How do we let this happen, honey? Over with Ace Badu. She's meeting up with her ex. He's cute, but baby, he got like 50 different hairstyles going on, honey. He got locks at the top. I thought he had some box braids in the back. He was faded on the side with a mullet in the middle. I was like, what in the all types of hairstyles is happening? Baby, he had that hair doing what that hair was going to do, honey. That hair is as free as he is. Child, this is a whole fool. She's with her ex. I think his name is Devon, okay? And he seems like he would be Ace's type. Very free. She's like, this is a very odd predicament because I've never really introduced an ex to anybody, but, we'll see. So here comes Laverne. He's like, I see another seat, so it's probably Tori, but he's no competition. Okay, Laverne, Laverne is total opposite of that ex, honey. Total opposite. So he sits down and her ex was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how jealous are you? He said, I'm a 0. Like, what do I have to be jealous of? Y'all know he cocky. This man said, there's no other man that can compare to me. I mean, I could be next to Barack Obama and Jay-Z and I could still hold my own. It's the delusions for me. Sir, you cannot stand beside Barack Hussein Obama. Absolutely not. Child, let me be clear on that right now. Okay, you can't stand next to Obama in his suits, honey. You can absolutely not. But I'm glad he's confident in himself or whatever, child, because if you don't give yourself the zhuzh, then who gonna give it? But at the same time, when he says it, it's like off-putting. It's not even cute. It's like, well, if you don't shut up. So Donovan shows up for the date with Carmen, confused as ever, okay, because we back over here with Carmen, Paul, and Donovan. So he shows up and he's confused as to why Paul is here in this mystery man. Back over at Ace's date, here comes Tori. Okay. Now, I'm confused by Tori because he's never named her as his potential top choice. But I guess he was one of her top choices. I'm guessing. Child. But Tori said, you know, after the beach, his connection with Sabrina is a little bit shaky, but he has a connection with Ace. Okay, sir. He's like, you know, I don't need to meet an ex. I mean, when you throw the trash out, do you go pick it up? Okay, well, touche, Tori, touche. So the ex is being messy, talking about will Laverne say he think he the one. That's what he's saying. Tori said, oh, okay, well, we think a lot of things. It doesn't mean it's facts. Here go Vern. He gonna take a sip of his drink. Baby, this is strictly for TV. Do y'all hear me? This is strictly for TV. Back with old Blue Eyes and her date, a.k.a. Carmen. Carmen's ex asked what their intentions were. So Donovan said, you know, to allow her to be who she is, to grow, to make her happy. Here go P.O. Here he go with the bull. You know, mine are for her to spend a little time as my friend, a little time as my fiance, and the rest of my life as my wife. Sir, I have several seats, honey. I'm not buying nothing you selling. I really am not. He said, you know, there's one caveat to that, though. And y'all need to understand this. She's always been around athletes and good-looking people, so you have to be able to emotionally handle that. Well, honey, if they wanted Carmen, I'm sure she would not be on Ready to Love. Being an athlete doesn't mean you're better. Child, you better check some of their stats. Shout out to Tristan Thompson. Moving forward. He said, if y'all don't have y'all ish together, then y'all gonna have some issues and some late nights sitting up wondering. Wondering what? Like, if it's that easy, then have at it. Because I'm not about to be sitting up wondering what you're doing when you're supposed to be with me. So Donovan said, I don't think I'm going to have that problem. Marcus, pipe down, honey. Ain't nobody worried about karma. P.O. was like, well, you know, I've been around that, so, you know, I understand it. He said, what do you do? He said, I'm a software analyst. Shut it, P.O. Child, this is a mess. Moving forward. So Tori is telling them about Ace and how Ace is real and how he connects with her. That's what he's telling Devon. And so Vern is speaking Vern speak. Y'all know how he liked to do. So Devon said when he met Ace, she was an alpha. And Vern is an alpha. So, you know, he looks at Tori and he's like, are you an alpha? He said, I don't feel like relationships are about dominating your woman. You know, I feel like it's about respect and reciprocity. I like that answer. I really do. Because you know what? The term alpha male has a very negative stigma attached to it sometimes. So it was refreshing to hear a man not be so ready to deem himself as an alpha. Like, I mean, everybody doesn't have to be an alpha male. Now, when it's time to take care of, protect, and provide, I do want you to do that. But, you know, sometimes when they say I'm an alpha male, sometimes that's translation for jerk, jackass, ready to treat you wrong and be aggressive in the wrong times. Like, it don't make no sense. Like, I like that answer. I really did. That ex was asking some great questions, though. He really was. I'm shocked to hear that Ace was an alpha female because she seems total opposite. So after they left, she asked Donovan his thoughts. And he said, you know, if you want to be led, then you need to choose Vern. But if you want to do the leading, then you need to choose Tori. She was like, oh, okay, then, well, honey, you better get me together. She said, I really like that. He really gave me some great insight. Moving forward. Back at Carmen's date, they're heading on out. So Donovan said, you know, that he hopes that she sees he's not a jealous guy and that he's going to be comfortable with her being out with other guys at night because she's going to be coming home to him. Donovan, you don't even like Carmen like that. You like Sabrina. Oh, boy. So when they left, she asked Marcus, you know, if he saw her with any one of them. And he said, yeah, you know, but I feel like P.O. was too soft. Child, not Paul being Charmin toilet tissue. Shout out to Charmin. Not he's soft. He said he doesn't think that he's going to be able to handle her. So he would choose Donovan. Paul didn't seem soft, but he seems performative and he seems rehearsed. You know, like Laverne. Just like Tommy said, they do the most, the absolute most. In the next scene, Sabrina is going to meet with Milton, her ex, and her ex is meeting with every man that's left, child. Child, Sabrina like everybody. He meeting with Demetrius first, then Tori, then Donovan. So Demetrius comes in and Milton is like, oh, we look alike, so that's good. Y'all look absolutely nothing alike, sir. Why you think y'all look alike? Because y'all both have beards? Sir, please cut it out. Like, just stop. So Tori is meeting with her the next day and he goes to meet Milton. And again, he's letting us know that his connection with Sabrina has shifted. Okay, sir, we get it. He said, you know, she got a connection with Demetrius, Donovan, and so-called me. I mean, that's a lot of connections. I don't have the energy to have 3 connections. Child, I know that's right, because quiet as it's kept, I don't have the energy to have 1 connection. Do y'all hear me? But Tori, if you're going to be in this process, then you need to understand that there may be some other people that she likes as well. And if you're not feeling her, then why continue to entertain her? You're wasting your time and you're wasting her time. So he gets in there and he sits down. So Tori said, you know, I'm the type not to show my emotions. I kind of hide everything with a smile. And when he said that, I was thinking, that's very dangerous to me. Like, I need you to express how you are feeling because I don't like passive aggressiveness. Just tell me how you're feeling straight up. Okay, child, that's how you end up on the ID channel or snapped, sitting there smiling. I'm thinking everything is okay. And then, no. Please tell me how you feel, child. Absolutely not. So Tori is at the table like, you know, I'm not concerned about the past. It doesn't have anything to do with the present. So Sabrina in her confessional, she's like, I'm just shocked that this is his demeanor because, you know, I feel like this was a missed opportunity to get to know a little bit more about me. Why show up just to be nasty? That's my thing. Like, you never forgave her for the truth or dare game, so just let it go. She has far too many connections for you, so just leave her alone. So they sitting at the table. It's awkward AF at this time because Tori is being passive aggressive. Then Donovan shows up with more flowers because Tori showed up with flowers as well. And I'm like, baby, they are filling her up, child. But y'all knows Demetrius didn't show up with nothing, okay? This is right up Sabrina's alley. All the men vying for her affection, fighting to feel out who's gonna be the one to save the princess. Child, this is awful. So she's like, you know, Donovan came in real smooth, tall and big, a big smile, exuding confidence. So Donovan asked, what kind of person would Sabrina need? So Milton says she needs a person to complete her because she fights for social justice, so she needs a strong person. And Sabrina was impressed at how confident Donovan was, all of the questions he was asking. Meanwhile, Tori's sitting there dangling his feet back and forth. I said, Tori is pressed back on that bench. Do y'all hear me? He dangling his feet back and forth, not asking a word. I think it's safe to say that Tori might be leaving tonight, honey, but I ain't too sure. Moving forward. Back with old boring Demetrius, Milton is letting him know that Sabrina is going to want to be involved in decision making. He said, oh, okay. So in his confessional, he was like, you know, I'm not really used to that, but, you know, I would not necessarily call it a red flag, just more insight into who she is. Okay, so you saying that to me is a red flag because it's telling me that you want a woman with no voice. You don't want her input. You don't want her to have any say. Like, why would her wanting to be involved in decision making and red flag be in the same sentence? I didn't like that because I was like, Demetrius, because honey, y'all know how I feel about these military men already. So for him to say, you know, it's just giving me more insight into who she is. Yes, she wants to be a voice. Boy. So Demetrius said, well, what if we disagree and I do it anyway? That right there is telling me that he's not going to respect her or her boundaries. And if she has some input, he's going to do what he want to do at the end of the day. Honey, I hope she heard that. He said, well, it's going to be a problem. He said, oh, it's going to be a problem? He said, yeah. These two not going to work. She going to end up with Donovan. I can almost bet you. These two are not going to work. Back with Tori, Donovan, and Sabrina, Milton asked if Tori had to say it will work right now. What does he think about that? He said, I would have to say, he said, you want me to be honest? Milton said, nah, I'll lie. Baby, the girls is catty on this episode. Do y'all hear me? He said it probably wouldn't work. Like, I'm going to need to build a foundation. So then he asked Donovan the same question. He said, yeah, I think it's going to work. So they leave. And so she asked the opinion of them. Automatic no on Tori. He said, if you want someone to build with, then I would choose Demetrius. And he said something else about Donovan. So she said, so who do you think is going to make me the most happy? Girl, how would he know? That's up to you to decide. But in the end, he ended up saying Donovan by a landslide. So child, it's time for Tina. It's time for Christina to go on her date, and she set up a date with Paul and Demetrius and her ex BJ. So Paul gets there, and he's like, oh, he's young. How did she jump up to this level after being with him? Well, mentally, you act his age, so maybe that's how. So on the other side, Dakia is meeting with Clifton and Terrence. And child, you know Clifton, he don't want to be there, child. He does not want to meet anybody's exes. And back with Christina, Demetrius shows up to meet with him and Paul. And he didn't even know that he was going there. And Paul was like, I didn't even know they had a connection. So BJ was like, well, how do you know you're ready to love? This is what he's asking Demetrius. And he was like, you know, I've been married, I got divorced, I went to therapy, and I've been working through some things, so I feel like I'm ready to love. So Paul said, you know, I'm looking for a queen to shower with love. Okay, moving forward. P.O., I don't even have the energy, child. I really don't. Back at Dakia's date, her ex asked if, you know, he wanted to get married, and Clifton said, you know, I've been there twice, so I'm not opposed to it, but this time it will definitely, literally be till death do us part. I was like, oh, child, I'm a little nervous about that answer. Back with P.O., Christina, and Demetrius and her ex BJ, P.O. asked, you know, how long he's known her romantically. He was like, oh, we dated in 2003, 2004, like, you know, in high school. Girl, not you brought a high school ex. Let me tell y'all something. I do not count high school exes because you aren't really in a real relationship yet. This is what it should be. It should be an ex that was no longer than 3 years prior to you going on this show. Child, not you reached back to high school. He said, you know, but back then she had anger issues. Like she threw my phone. She put a hole in my door. Child, not Christina being violent. She said, well, no, if you're going to tell the story. So then in her confessional, she was like, he was creeping and hiding in the shower. Ma'am, what does that have to do with you being so aggressive? Like it's giving toxic and it's giving red flag. But honey, that's my opinion. And y'all know what? I got to call her out because if one of the men's exes said that he used to be aggressive and punching holes in the wall and throwing the phones, child, we be trying to burn him at the stake. So Christina, honey, it's some problems up and through. Clearly the ex was community property back in the day, honey, and laying it low and spread it wide with anybody who would have him. And she got mad. Okay, I can't say I ain't never got mad, honey. But at the same time, girl, that sounds toxic. But I'm glad she's moved on from that. But, child, I wasn't doing all that in high school. All that in high school? Girl, please. So Demetrius was like, so how is her communication, you know, when you disagree with her? BJ said, oh, she gonna act out. And she not gonna talk to you for months, sometimes a year. A year? Baby, you got 3 business days with me. After that, I am going to assume that I am single. Child, Tina got a few issues, don't she? I don't think Christina is ready to love. Moving forward. So Demetrius said, you know, in his confessional, her ghosting, that's like a red flag for me. So BJ said also she holds on to stuff for weeks. Like she leave you wondering like, what did I do? Christina, you reached back to when Cash Money was taking over for the 99 and the 2000s to be safe. And he got you looking straight crazy. Girl, you would have did better saying I don't have an ex. Girl. So here go P.O. Well, on that note, I got to get out of here. Child, you know it's bad when P.O. ready to dip. Child, this is a mess. Back with Dakia and Clifton, they're flirting in front of her ex. And Clifton was like, you know, I'm trying to flirt in front of her ex to see if she gonna flirt back. Because if she does, then that'll let me know all I need to know. Clifton, you're getting on my nerves. You're being super insecure about these exes, honey. Not you giving her a test. Honey, I ain't like that. Back with Tina. She asked BJ what he thought, and he said, you know, go with P.O. because Demetrius is very conservative. And she said, yeah, he is. And he also has some red flags. He said he's working on himself. Ma'am, judging from this ex, you might have to work on yourself as well. Honey, people in glass houses. In the next scene, all the ladies get together at the wine bar, honey, because you know they ain't got no lounge. And y'all know I like to point that out each and every review. So maybe if somebody from OWN is over there listening, please give the ladies a lounge in the next season. So they get to the wine bar, and the man of the hour shows up. Hey, Tommy, nice to see you. Come on in, child. And Tommy tells them that Eric bowed out gracefully. Of course, Dakia was like, that's good. So then he asked about their dates, and Joy said hers went great. So then Dakia was like, you know, me and Clifton, we have a strong physical connection, and we were like touching each other. And baby Joy was giving a look because y'all know the production gonna go on over there and pan over to her face, right? So A said her ex did well with asking questions, and Sabrina said, I went out with Donovan, Demetrius, and Tori, and my ex liked one of the D's, and I'm gonna leave that at that. Sabrina bugs me sometime. Girl, which D is it? Ugh. So Carmen told them that her ex chose Donovan, and Christina said her ex chose Paul because Demetrius was more structured. It's that military background. That's what it is. So Tommy said, all right now, at the end of the day, it's y'all's choice. So then he asked who they were not feeling. Sabrina said she wasn't feeling Vern. Dakia said Vern, his energy was negative. Tina said Vern and Tori. Carmen said she wasn't feeling Laverne and Tori. Joy said Tori and Demetrius. Child, y'all know Joy can't stand Demetrius. She said, I just feel like Tori, with him, this process is a lot, and I don't think he's really gotten over the truth or dare, so I don't think that he's all in. So Tommy was like, Sabrina, have you noticed that? She said, yeah, I definitely have noticed that. I have sensed a difference. He said, so do you think he's recovered from that? She said, well, it didn't matter. He sure kissed someone else, so I'm sure he's fine. Here go Tommy. Everybody take a sip. Tommy, he's so messy. Tori kissed Precious, hoping to have a spark, honey. He didn't want to feel like Sabrina kissed someone else and he didn't, honey. It's passive aggressiveness and pettiness, honey. It's some petty get back. So she said in her confessional, she was like, yeah, I found out that he kissed Precious to get back at me and it kind of turned me off. Well, why did you invite him to meet your ex? Y'all are both getting on my nervous system. In the next scene, Sabrina goes for the eliminate with Vern and Dakia goes to meet with Tori. Baby, it's finna be a fool. Child, y'all get closer. Here we go. So we see Laverne, right? And he hops out the whip. He's like, yeah, I got wind that the ladies were coming after me. You know, Carmen, Sabrina, and Tina, they had a plan to vote me out because they want to break up the connection with me and Ace. He's like, so, you know, I'm coming in a little bit hot. He is so catty to be a man. And who told you that? Was it Ace? Ace, let me find out, child. So she gets up for a hug, right? And he tries to dap her up, child. He's like, give me a pound, honey, because I don't want you touching me. So he sits down. He's like, I already know what this is, you know. And she was like, well, can we talk? So, child, he proceeds to pick up his drink and take a sip. Meanwhile, over with Dakia, she's over there just as calm, breaking it down for Tori, back with Sabrina. She's like, why are you giving me this energy? Like, it's ugly. He's like, why would I hug somebody that I know doesn't like me? She's like, I don't dislike you. What are you talking about? He said, oh, okay, because I heard otherwise. He said, I heard all about y'all little plan. So, yeah, I'm not ready to love, so let me just get up and walk out. Well, go on, set yourself off then, child. Though it took me some time to get to the place. Bye. Child, goodbye, honey. So she's like, well, in her confessional, she said he has been a non-motherfucking factor. Shout out to Evelyn Lozada in her journey so far. So she's trying to figure out why he thinks that they're trying to plot against him. He's not even that important. So he getting real hype on her, honey. Real hype on a lady. Okay, do y'all hear me? This attitude right here shows and prove why he's only had situationships and why he's not ready to love. He won't even let her speak. They just don't have a connection with you, Vern. That is it. Honey, I eliminated you 3 weeks ago and I don't even know you. You're cringe. You're cringe in your behavior. And now your little ego is bruised because not only have you been in the bottom once, but now you've been here twice. So it's just time for you to kick rocks and don't come back around here no more, no more. Back with the calm after the storm over there with Sabrina and Laverne, the kid still talking to Tori, and she tells him that, you know, he's still ready to love. Baby, let's get back to the mess. The kid is great at these dates, though. She always is so gentle and articulate and able to, you know, not have them so on alert. She's able to disarm them, and I like that about Dakia. More Dakia eliminates. Okay, let's get back to the mess. Meanwhile, Sabrina is walking away, honey, because she has had enough from Laverne. Because he came in so rude and she's pissed. He's like, I didn't cuss you out, you cussed me out. She's like, oh yeah, you about to get cussed out. Ooh, wait. This right here is a fool. She was like, you know, it was the accusations, it was his tone, it was him over talking me. It was all of that. So they're going back and forth and back. And she's like, you need to get over yourself. You know what? I'm just going to walk away. So then she comes back. She's like, you know what? It wasn't a romantic connection with you. That's what it was. He said, oh, okay. Well, Precious told me that y'all had a plot against me, so you need to talk to your little friend Precious. Child, not Precious in her part being messy from beyond elimination. How would she even know that? See, it be your own friends that you met on the show, child. So she walks out and she's like, he's being petty, he's being spiteful. Honey, and is. And don't forget childish girl and insecure. Don't forget that. So the producers are over there with Laverne, right? So they were like, well, are you going to apologize? He said, no, what am I apologizing for? I didn't cuss her out. She cussed me out. But dude, you came in on 100,000 ready to get it started. So I don't understand why you don't think you owe her an apology. He said, you know what? The dating process isn't for me. I've been dating for 44 years and this was my last try because it never has really worked out, so I just give up. Well, honey, if you are 44 years of age and you've been dating for 44 years, that's part of the problem. You were dating as a toddler and now you're acting like one. Boy, goodbye. So the producer said, but now you're no longer going to be a part of the process, and so you're not going to be able to get to know Ace. This man going to say, oh, well, you win some, you lose some. Okay. He's like, it's just going to be me and my dog. Well, you and Rover set yourself off. This right here just proves that you were not ready to love and you did not care about Ace in the slightest. You just wanted to make it to the end. It is no reason to be mad at Ace. She did not vote you out, honey. Nobody made a connection with you. Child, whatever woman sees this and you see Laverne, please don't be the Shirley to his Laverne, because this is not what you want. Child, and that was the end of the episode. Woo, child. The exes met the nexes and many of the men had a little attitude. Child, this episode was something else. Y'all tell me exactly what you thought about Sabrina, Demetrius, Tori, this, that, any, mini, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe, if he holler, let him go. Child, Sabrina like everybody, okay? Do you feel like Tori is warranted in the way that he feels because Sabrina has several connections? Do you feel like Sabrina just want to play cat and mouse? Because, honey, I do. Do you feel like Laverne will ever find his Shirley? Because, honey, I don't. I just want to hear what y'all have to say. And do you feel like Precious is the one that dropped a dime on the women? Precious, you in that part? Honey, go away. We're going to see you at the reunion. Child, don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.